And over the last 9 years, I've just seen how much difference it can make in people's resilience, in the time it takes to make a decision, in the time it takes for them to have a breakthrough, shift a belief, etc., etc., etc. It's really powerful to rewire our subconscious mind through using neuroplasticity, yes, but laughter and play really accelerate that. They are practices that engage laughter, as you might have guessed, through using breath exercises, laughter exercises, and rhythmic exercises. And in Laughter Wellness, we're also just boosting and elevating any other feel-good emotions. So we might be focused on love or gratitude.
G'day, Dr. Tony here with another episode of Realms of Power podcast. And today I've got Bianca Spears, who's a really unique coach practicing out of Sydney. And so, Bianca, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me, Tony. It's awesome to be here.
Oh, so good. In Realms of Power, some of our visions have been really to help turn people power on, but I've had this overriding passion to have fun along the way. And, if it's not fun anymore, I'm not going to do it because I love fun. And really, it sort of vibes with what you do. So, for our listeners, how about we just dive straight in and give our listeners a sense of what it is you do? Like, because when you explained it to me the first time, I was like, oh my God, I just felt so excited. So, yeah, go for it.
So I do a few things. The titles that I take, I'm an empowerment coach, a laughter leader, and I'm the founder and creator of something called the Neuro-Playstic Way. So starting with, I guess, coaching, I weave play, neuroplasticity, laughter into the coaching because all the science is there to support why we should. And over the last 9 years, I've just seen how much difference it can make in people's resilience, in the time it takes to make a decision, in the time it takes for them to have a breakthrough, shift a belief, etc., etc., etc. It's really powerful to rewire our subconscious mind through using neuroplasticity, yes, but laughter and play really accelerate that. And they help the work to feel easier and lighter rather than heavy, like, a traditional, like, counseling or therapy session can be a lot of re-traumatization, whereas we can go into some deeper emotions, but come through with the lightness using laughter and play. So I also do laughter yoga and laughter wellness. They are practices that engage laughter, as you might have guessed, through using, like, breath exercises, laughter exercises, and rhythmic exercises. And in Laughter Wellness, we're also just boosting and elevating any other feel good emotions. So we might be focused on love or gratitude. It might look like a mini meditation. It might look like a little exercise where we're sharing a happy memory or something like that. So that we're really just boosting and elevating not just laughter and the chemicals it provides, but any and all positive emotions. And lastly, I help other coaches and facilitators and laughter leaders to bring this mashup into their work. So I am running a facilitator training in July and really excited to dive in and get to deliver this and help people to understand how to weave that into their work. I don't know if you've got questions about the laughter yoga. Most people do, and we can kind of get into what does that even mean? What does it look like? How does it go? But I'll leave my intro there for now.
I love that. And just the authenticity that you laugh, it's just so genuine as well. Because some people would think, oh, if I go to laugh yoga or the laugh counseling thing, aren't you just faking it? And I know you've had that question, I'm sure, 100 times. And it's really sometimes it's even just funny looking at other people laugh, which makes you laugh, and it just builds on each other's energy. And it's such a beautiful thing. I'm interested before we go to like the practical sense is how did you even get into that? Like what was the trigger? What was the like was there a passion, a burning, a joy? Was it just like I want to do something different? Because I hear empowerment coach, and you and I know there's so many coaches in the field or counselors in the field, and it is really unique. So how did you find that niche?
Yeah, it's funny. So the laughter came before the coaching. So if we rewind back to my early 20s, I'm in my first corporate job. I'm working in radio, in media, so it's actually quite a fun environment, but I see the adult life is, like, quite stressful, quite full on, and we had a lady come up. I was living in Cairns at the time. We had a lady come up to run a local laughter leader training for laughter yoga, and she hooked into the radio station and into the promotions team, which is where I was working, and managed to get herself on the radio to promote her training, but also she ran a free session for our team. And I was riding my laughter motorbike around going, "This is the best thing ever. This is what adults need." So I signed up straight away to do her training. Unfortunately, I fell ill, never did that. So that was like 2008 or 9. Fast forward to when I moved to Sydney, I was out to make a life from my passions and my dreams, and I had no idea exactly what that was gonna turn out like. But what I did know was this laughter yoga training was still on my to-do list. So I signed up, I trained in that, and a few years down the track, once I was also trained in coaching, I did a really powerful training that taught about how laughter puts us in a trance state, basically. It's one of the things that it does. So it opens our mind up to become really open and receptive and allows us to bypass the conscious critical faculty, if we want to get nerdy, basically the gateway to the subconscious mind, the part of our brain that's going, nope, not going to go there and do that new thing. Nope, I can't make extra money. Nope, I can't be that person. Nope, I can't make these changes. We get to our way over the fence into the subconscious mind and plant seeds there for fertile, like really for infertile ground for positive change.
Mm. Oh, it's such a beautiful, and I love that it is backed by, as you say, neuroscience, and it's well documented. And people still, I think, I'm not saying all people, but a lot of people still would poo-poo it, and then until they do it, and then everyone enjoys laughing. But why as adults do more and more people get, as you said at the start, like there's a heaviness and a density in our world right now. And the light and the path to even spiritual enlightenment for some people might be through laughter, through lightness, freedom. So, what sort of shifts have you seen in, let's go to laugh yoga first. Let's start there. What sort of shifts have you seen from people getting all serious about their stretching? And I'm not saying yoga is serious because it's just a beautiful practice, but in laugh yoga, what is something that you've seen that shifted for people?
Yeah. Well, number one, I'll just rewind to something you said earlier about the forcing and faking. It is promoted in traditional laughter yoga. I prefer a choose and allow method because at the end of the day, you know how to laugh. Babies have a milestone. Like when they laugh for the first time, that's a milestone. It's celebrated as proper development. We know how to laugh. So if I ask you to breathe in and laugh out,
Yeah. I'll start snorting soon.
yes, the snort laugh is such a good one. So I will point to that. And I will also say if you've tried laughter yoga before, or if you do try it for the first time and it's really weird, really awkward, or your instructor doesn't seem to be laughing very genuinely, that can happen. Try again, try with somebody else. The second thing you mentioned stretching, so we don't I mean, we make moves, but there's no asanas in laughter yoga. So it's called laughter yoga because of the breath. So I think your question was around like transformations people have had or changes.
Yeah, like someone, yeah, some people are going, "What even is this?" They've tried it out, and then you've seen in them, and they're like, oh my god!" Like you said, you wanted to do the course, and it's taken you on a path. What have you seen for just people that have gone to do it and their feedback they've given you?
What pops to mind is a friend who came for the very first time to a session I ran a couple of years ago. And I didn't realize, oh, until she arrived and said hello to me, she's like, I've got a massive migraine. And to me, I was like, oh my God, like I would not be, I'm not even someone who really gets bad headaches. So I'm like a wimp with headaches in the first place. I can't imagine what a migraine's like. And secondly, like, I have had times where I get a lot of pressure in the back of my head, maybe from whiplash that I've had in the past. And when I've laughed, that tension has, like, tightened from, like, these muscles going around, I guess. I don't know. So to me, laughing with a headache, I was like, if you need to back out at any time, like, just go. That's fine. She did the whole hour session. She was like, I am transformed. I was like a 3 out of 10 on the, like, how good do you feel scale at the start. Now I'm like an 8 out of 10, like, this is the best thing ever. And I never would have recommended anybody do that, to be honest, with a headache. But it really worked for her because laughter does relax us. It brings in endorphins, which are our natural opioids, which are painkillers. There's so many different things and reasons why it can help us. It calms our nervous system. So that's, I guess, a physical change. As far as rewiring the brain goes, I heard of a lady, she's here in Australia, her name's Kat, and I did get to meet her, but I heard about her when I was first training, and I believe she'd had an injury that affected her eye, and she could not see properly out of one eye, and her vision was blurry. She became a laughter yoga instructor and she practiced quite frequently, and she came to a point where she could start to see out of that eye because her brain had made a new pathway, a new connection for her to be able to get that. There was nothing physically wrong that would stop the vision except the pathway had been interrupted. So there can be some pretty miraculous things that go on. I feel like I could just sit here for a whole half hour and riddle off. I'm like, even the guy that trained me, he had his bone marrow was no longer producing blood and he was like hemorrhaging internally and externally. And so his doctor said to him, like, go home and get your affairs in order. Like, it doesn't look like you're going to make it. And his body, he knew nothing about laughter yoga. He just started laughing and his body uncontrollably started laughing. And he laughed and laughed and laughed and laughed for days and went back to the doctor and was like, I don't know what's happening. Like, but I feel pretty good and I couldn't stop laughing and realized the power of laughter and has now like committed his life to sharing about it and helping people to understand it further. And, years on, he's still alive. The issues that were presenting in his body disappeared. And, some of the specialists were like, what did you do? Laugh. He did say he also ate oysters. He's like, I still don't know what the oysters thing was about, but I was craving oysters. I had to eat oysters. I don't know what that's about, but he knows a lot about the science of laughter now, and he's done some amazing studies with universities and things like that on the power of laughter.
Oh, that's brilliant. And look, I'm sure most people have heard of them bringing laughter into hospitals for sick children. And obviously, there's movies done about that. And that's well documented. One of the most powerful things I think you've said already was about your switch from being that forced laughter to choosing and allowing. I love principle because that is a choice, and it's a choice even in the whether it's the laugh yoga or just in your life, just anywhere in your life to choose laughter. Can you say why that is such an important part of it?
I love that you get this distinction because sometimes I say it and people are like, "What do you mean? Like, why would that be different?" And I'm like, "Have you ever forced anything in your life? Yes. Have you ever chosen anything in your life?" Again, empowerment coach. It's so much more empowering, for one, to choose rather than being like, "Oh, I've got to keep forcing myself to do this happy thing." No, I'm choosing to do it because I know how to do it and my body can do it. So that's one aspect. And then what I've found with clients, one-to-one clients that I work with, they've never experienced laughter, especially in a coaching setting. And it's brand new to them, and once they start to get into it, they're like, "Whoa, like, this is really cool." And I often say if you can choose to laugh, you can choose to do anything because in a coaching session, we might be laughing with something that's really upsetting, frustrating, painful, stressful, etc., because we can transmute the energy around that and we can rewire the way the brain responds to that, and thereby our thoughts and our emotions are different to thinking about that situation. So they really find a lot of resilience typically when they're starting. when they crack past that point of like, "Oh, laughter on purpose. This is weird." And anything we do for the first time feels weird. It's not a practice that we typically do in our lives. You know, if you start learning to knit, it's gonna feel awkward and weird because you don't know what you're doing yet. But as you get better and better and you start to see the results coming through, and I mean, with laughter, it's also the biochemistry changes. Like if you keep going through the motions and you keep choosing to laugh, soon that cortisol is going to drop, those stress chemicals are going to drop. And what's going to come in and be produced by your body are the feel good chemicals. So you're going to get to a point, if you keep choosing, where the chemistry takes over and you're suddenly like, I don't really know why I'm laughing, but this is good and I don't want to stop anymore. Dopamine kicks in, which is the reward chemical, which is like, "Let's keep doing this. This is fun. This is awesome." And it just rolls from there.
Yeah, well, literally, you said neuroplastic, which is such a beautiful play on the word of neuroplasticity, which a lot of people have heard now. Not many people had heard that a while back, but it is developing those neural pathways and choosing them rather than just forcing them, but through discipline. Oh, I'm going to definitely have to keep laughing. That's discipline and forcing versus, no, I'm going to have lightness about it. I'm going to choose it. And look, some days I may not feel the vibe, but like today, hey, I'm back in the zone because I'm choosing that pathway and developing that pathway in our brain. What a better way to live. And more of that in the world, I say. We constantly get bombarded with fear, with the down, with the watching the news and the negative. I don't watch the news and any of that stuff, but you still get surrounded by people's stories and how much of them are choosing laughter. I think I shared with you before we started this podcast where I was away on holidays once and I was with my son, little son, just playing around. And he goes, Dad, I need someone to tickle me, to make me laugh. And and he was looking for laughter. And so it's not just funny in the moment, but it was like that was being one of my life principles now of am I looking for laughter in this? Where am I as still an adult looking for the laughter? And I think that is a beautiful message. Can take that on as well. So let's go to, yeah, your actual course work. How does it look? You come up to one of your courses, whether it's the practitioner training or something. Are they like, oh geez, I might be laughing today? Like, what's it like when they rock up to a course for you?
Picking up to a course is going to look like coming into an orientation call where you're getting to meet all of the cool other people. It is an online program. It's and moving through the course, it's going to look like, yes, professional development. And how can you enhance your facilitation skills with laughter and play is, I guess, the first pillar, if we want to call it that. Second one we go into in the second month is the neuroplasticity and nervous system regulation. Third one is facilitation. Truly believe any facilitator in any realm can up level the way that they're facilitating, and especially if we're looking at how can we use psychology, how can we use neuroplasticity, how can we use laughter and play to up level our facilitation. You're going to be bringing in maybe skills that you haven't had before. Well, hope that's the intention anyway. Even if you've been bringing laughter and play, maybe there's something else you can work on. So the calls throughout the course go from, yes, me teaching, you experiencing the method, and also facilitating the method within the container as well as outside of the container, so that you're getting those practice sessions in and you're taking it and running with it. You're able to implement what we're learning along the way and then get feedback from that as well, and support and mentorship around the planning of your sessions, around what might have been better, what could have worked, what was freaking awesome as we go through. So it's a 4-month journey and, yeah, we move through, and the thing I love about it is every person gets to weave it in to whatever they're doing. So they might be a laughter leader. They might already be a coach. They might do breathwork and healing or something completely different to what I do. But the point is they get to take on the information and become neuroplastic in their facilitation. So they're bringing in those elements more easily and effortlessly and becoming sort of a chef who knows the ingredients, knows what's needed, knows what's going on behind the scenes. So for the participant, it's super fun. It's easy, it's light, it's guided, they're held, they're being moved through this beautiful journey. And at the same time, subconsciously and in their nervous system and in their body, they're making actually really big shifts. So, yeah, it's fun kind of having this undercurrent while it's light and easy. And don't get me wrong, it's not all fun. There will be tears for clients who are moving through things sometimes, but you get to move them. They don't leave the session feeling like raw and exposed, feeling like lighter and more expanded and more empowered.
Mm. Well, look, Realms of Power has literally had that vision. How do we turn people's power on? And without laughter, without fun, it's heavy and it's like, oh, yes, I'm powerful. And like, hang on, dude, you're missing some of the point here because, yeah, that's right. And look, there are going to be people stuck and heavy and dense, not just in their body, but in their energetic, being almost. And to have that choice, I'm really interested in. Sure, you've got that for practitioners and you do one-on-one sessions and that stuff, but let's go a bit wider. Let's look at society now as a whole and go, okay, this principle makes sense. It's backed by science, and yet adults as a whole don't do it. I want to know from your perspective as an expert in that field, why do you think that is and what can we do about it?
Mm. There's so many different reasons, and thankfully, I know a lady called Rosemary Colston who's in Brisbane, and she a huge study on adult play and adult adversity to play. And so some of the reasons include our upbringing, especially if you had a mother who was very I can't think of the exact word, like, I don't wanna say dictator, but, like, a very strict strict kind of mum. That can be a huge factor. Your perception of play also can be a huge thing. A lot of people come to me and say, "Oh, but I'm not a playful person. I don't like to be silly. I don't like to look stupid." And I'm like, "You don't have to." Play could be like, planting things in the garden for you and going, "Oh, these are gonna look really great." Play could be cooking a really nice meal and playing with the ingredients and the flavors that you're adding to that. And play could be like an imaginative exercise for you on your own, not sharing with anyone, not make believe for anyone else, but just visualizing your future. That could be a play for you. It might be diving into stories and reading books and things like that and losing yourself in that world. It can be so many different things, and I think it similar to creativity, people have like a, "Oh, but I'm not creative." They have like, "Oh, but I can't pick up a paintbrush and make a pretty picture, so therefore I'm not creative." I'm like, there's so many ways. And for me, play is about exploration and not getting it right, being okay with experimenting and enjoying the journey and getting lost in time as well, just letting go of time. And then there's societal things. So for men, like play is actually promoted a lot more for men because there's like, yeah, let's go out for golf with my mates, or typically adult males play sport like, more than females. There's even, I know Rose in her presentation that I saw, he was horrified by this sign outside of, like, I don't know if it was a church or, somewhere where it was, like, retirees meeting up was the vibe that I got, and it was, a games day for men, but, like, tea and, cakes for women, and it's like, "Why? Like, why can't we all play? Why women have to sit and chat because that's what they like and drinking tea, and the men get to go play the board games and things." So there's so many reasons from, yeah, the definition of play to your upbringing to societal beliefs around play. And lastly, I will say factoring it in. We have such busy lives, and play doesn't just drop itself in our lap. And if it does, we're probably too stressed to recognize what it is and take the opportunity. So you need to actually plan it in. You need to go, "Hey, I'm going to go to time zone and I'm gonna play on the games there, or I'm going to go out dancing with my friends, or I'm going to," at the moment I'm learning how to juggle just for fun, just because. And it's really good for your brain as well. You need to make that time, even if it's a small amount of time and you set a 5-minute timer and just go, "I'm gonna give myself to this activity for 5 minutes," and really just get immersed in it,
Mm,
because otherwise it just doesn't happen.
yeah, you're right. Look, I think for me, the ones that come up that you maybe didn't cover, but I'm sure you would, in that lady's study would have covered them, is the current education system. I think is very strict and very limiting at times. They do have play and sport, outside stuff, but there's a lot of the structured internal lessons where you wouldn't be encouraged to be playful and laughter in math, let's say, or whatever. And then you've got media, which is just so much is about the fear and the negative and just not putting, so many people are immersed in those dramas of the world versus just the lightness and the joy of the world, and whether that translates to,
Yeah.
the financial system, like how much people are in joy about finances and taxation and all of those things. And so I love what you said, because you're saying in our day you might need to prioritize this and factor it in somehow, and laugh at planting the plant, or that the weed kept coming back, or whatever it might be, like, right? Not go, oh, these damn weeds, go like, oh, those weeds, how awesome are they? And it's just shining a light on the different, you know, day-to-day things we all do, but bring that as the overlay and that overriding priority in your life, I think is so valuable. And you've used the word 3 or 4 times, empowering, which is really what we're trying to do here in the realms of power. So, yeah, many different societal things, but, yeah, how on a practical sense, like, what wisdom besides just choosing it? Like, is there a they could do something in their phones as a reminder? Like, what could people in a practical sense do to bring this more into their life?
Yeah. So a couple of things. Number one, you could just set a reminder a couple of times a day. I currently have joy alarms on my phone. So when that hits, whatever I'm doing, sometimes I'm even on a call with people and I'm like, my joy alarm's going off. Do you want to join me for a minute of joy? And just get your body and your brain as joyful as they can be. Right? And so for me, that looks like our physiology affects our psychology, right? So I'm reaching my arms up, I'm looking up, I'm smiling, I'm jumping around, I'm dancing a lot of the time. And I've seen other people use this practice and have like a really quiet moment of joy, enjoying the sun hitting their face when they're outside and really letting that blossom from inside. So a joy alarm or a play alarm. If you could be like, I'm going to just find a way to play, and we've got ChatGPT now, so if you've got no answers, like, go Google a list. There's, like, even before this, there was blogs and things, 100 ways to play, and what I'd like to also add is that play doesn't have to be another thing on your to-do list. I know I said schedule it in, however, you can habit stack and say, "When I brush my teeth in the morning, and then I spit in the sink, and I look at myself in the mirror, I pull 8 funny faces before I'm allowed to leave the bathroom." And see how you go with something like that. Or when I put my laundry in the laundry hamper before, like, when it's dirty washing, I'm gonna use it like a basketball, and I'm gonna pretend to bounce it on the walls through the hallway when I'm heading to the laundry, or I'm gonna pretend to bounce it on the bathroom floor before I put it in there. Just little things. I'm gonna do a time trial because I hate doing the dishes and I'm tired at the end of the day. I'm gonna race as fast as I can go do the dishes safely with like, see how quickly I can do it. So you can just gamify the mundane and make it fun and make it challenging and make it a little bit of a game. Parenting, God, we could have a whole podcast on parenting through play. Like, can you make it a game for your kids to get their shoes on? Like, can you find a way to unclench your teeth, stop saying, put your shoes on, and be like, "Oh my goodness, like, if you're a robot and you, like, go out and you're a robot that can tie shoes," or, like, what if you're, like, an animal? My son's he's 7 and he's being a baby every morning now, so he's like, "Goo what's that? Like, what's this?" And so on the way to school, I'm, like, explaining everyday things to him. I don't know, it moves him out of the house fast. So I'm like, "It's working for me." Then
Why
you
be
can
so serious?
it is, yeah, and it is an adjustment. I'm not gonna say even for me that it's always easy when you're so frustrated with something like, "Why do I have to ask you 18 times a day to put your clothes on in the morning? You know you need to do it, like, why?" And I have to remove myself from that and go, "Okay, this never worked. This attitude doesn't work. This builds, like, butting heads because my son just digs his heels in. Let me step aside and reinvent this. Let me see how I can do it a different way. Or if I'm angry, sometimes I sing. It's time to put your clothes on, put one foot through your pants, or whatever it is, to alleviate my own stress as much as to change, like, pattern interrupt what's going on. Because when you can interrupt the pattern, that will go like, "What's happening? What why are you singing? Like, you're normally yelling at me. Why are you singing? You're normally really angry. Why are you smiling?" And that itself will just reset the pattern for both of you.
Mm. Bianca, that is such beautiful wisdom. So, look, we better wrap up this episode. I'd love you to share, how would someone get in touch with you, Bianca, if they wanted to do some one on one Zoom work or live sessions with you? Where do they find you?
Yes, biancaspears.com is the easiest place. I'm going to do an overhaul, so you won't find information on the facilitator training there just yet. But if you're on Facebook or Instagram, you can also find me bianca.spears on those platforms and also YouTube if you want to check out what is this laughter stuff she's talking about. There's literally hundreds of videos from like 1 minute to over half an hour laughter sessions that you can press play on there, get a little insight into what it's like.
Well, look, it's certainly been funny having you on the show, and it's um, it's an absolute honor to share with people from different paradigms, different perspective. But yours is just absolutely beautiful. You're bringing joy, light, and choice to the world, and I think that is absolutely amazing. So you should have a little skip and a dance over that for yourself. Um, yeah, that's right. And look, once again to our listeners, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you guys have an awesome day. See ya.